Hi, welcome back. This is Mark and Marcus. I hope I'm recording. I'm not quite sure. Looks like I am. Um, yeah, so sorry I haven't been posting a lot of videos of Marcus. I've been quite busy. I'm getting more busy as a semi-retired person. I'm getting more involved with things that I didn't think I was going to get involved with. But yeah, it's been a little bit busy, especially here in one of the businesses that I own. It's a trucking business, and a lot of people are leaving the state of Colorado, more than I had imagined would actually leave, and for various reasons. Obviously, one of the biggest reasons, just the cost of living, is just too high here, and people are seeking locations that is a lot cheaper to live, which is understandable. Things are a little bit out of control. I believe that we're going to see a big shift in the population in the country, as more people seek out more affordable living locations. We used to see a lot of people coming from California, and that has kind of slowed down a bit. I think actually they realized, okay, coming to Colorado, it might be a little bit cheaper. It's not that much cheaper, so they're actually seeking other locations to go to. A lot of them going to Texas, I notice. A lot of people going to Florida, and some people are going to the southern states like South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, which kind of makes sense. But anyway, on one of my videos, I got a response about, it was an older video about going broke, and it wasn't a big comment. It was just a small comment, but I replied to the person who sent me the comment, and I was, understandably, just in general, everybody seemed we're going through the same situation. Just the cost of living is just out of control. Prices for food is astronomical, and I don't quite understand why. I know obviously they're attributing it to inflation, but why is it being inflated? Is the cost of production costing more? Is the salaries increasing so high that they have to increase their prices? It's a little bit beyond what I can comprehend, and I'm trying to understand it. I was trying to read some articles from economists and explaining, why things are going up. But I know, after COVID, obviously we had the shortage of production because of people getting sick, and labor wasn't there, and it was just a big mess. That I understand, but as things got back to normal, there was no reason for it to still be increased so high. Some of the prices for food products, especially food products. Gasoline, I get it. It's a commodity, and it goes up and down. It fluctuates based on a lot of factors. But in general, I replied to this person, and I asked them if they need any assistance. People can send me a comment, and I can give them advice. A little bit of advice of how to save some money and cut corners here and there. We all have to do that. It's just the times we're in right now. So one thing, I have my mother lives in Florida, and she's 92 years old. And she recently, well, not that recently, about over a year, more than a year ago, close to 2 years, that she had a major surgery. And it affected her big time. So my mother was an extremely active person. My mother's been alone for like over 30 years. My father passed away when he was very young. He was like 58 years old. My mother didn't remarry. My mother was a very ambitious person. She used to work for a company called Christine Valmy, where they were franchising beauty salons. It was cosmetics, and they were into that. And my mother was the person who was in charge, like somebody was opening a new franchise, and they would fly her out to Boston or to Las Vegas or California, and she would set up the business for them, and she was quite good at what she did. Later, she worked for Steve Wynn in Las Vegas, and she ran the spa in his casino. And yeah, she lived a pretty productive life. She was self-sufficient, and she did quite well. But now she's 92 years old, so obviously when you get to that age, it's a little more difficult to function. She had that major surgery as well, which attributed to her slowing down. And psychologically, for older people, especially if you were very active, it's pretty effective. It's affecting their whole way of life. They were used to being so independent and taking care of themselves, and then all of a sudden they're seeing they physically can't do it anymore. So it's been a bit challenging. I tried to get down there. It's as often as I possibly can, but because I had Guillain-Barré syndrome, I do have some physical issues as well. So it's a little bit hard for me as well, plus working and having two companies to deal with. It becomes a little bit overwhelming. So I was speaking to her the other day, and I wanted her basically to get a caretaker to come in. She doesn't need somebody who's actually going to sleep there and take care of her. She still has some functionality, but simple things like she likes to cook. She likes to bake, so she can't stand on her legs that long. She had also before her surgery, she had both knees replaced. I mean, I'm telling you how tough. She's a tough cookie. She had both knees replaced at the same time. Not a lot of people do that. And she was driving, like, I think three weeks later, she was driving. She was back in the car and driving. So she's a pretty tough woman. So she has this difficulty now, and she has, I think she fell one time and she hurt herself, but she didn't break any bones or anything like that. I keep telling her, the cane is good, but to use the walker, she has a walker as well. I said, use the walker in the apartment. She has not a huge two-bedroom condo in Florida, so it's easy for her to use the walker. I try to convince her, but psychologically, she, when you get to that stage I actually was using a cane for a while, and I still occasionally have to use a cane when I have to go long distances walking. It has a psychological effect, obviously, but I try to explain to her that your physical abilities are going to be diminished, especially after you had this major surgery and you're still having some residual effects of that. So it's a problem. So convincing her, I had called Visiting Angels. The one that is near my mom in Florida is extremely, got great reviews. I think I didn't see anyone negative review for them, actually. I think that was pretty impressive. I did contact them and I spoke to them. They kind of explained to me what the procedures were and what options there are. And then they send out a caseworker to the potential customer, and they discuss what their needs are and everything like that. So that was one option. And then somebody that my mom knows, actually was a neighbor where she lives in the community. They had a number of a individual that does do this type of caretaking, on a daily basis. So actually my mom wouldn't probably need full-time. She would probably need a few hours, maybe a couple times a week, just to help her with general things like maybe cooking a meal and, cooking excessive, a little bit more, so you can freeze the meals and just reheat the meals up, or if she wanted to bake something, or making her bed, say for example, or doing quick laundry. We have a cleaning service that does come, every couple of weeks and cleans, and that works out very well. And we have a neighbor that looks in on her constantly. He also has a mother who's a little bit, I think, older than my mom, and he's taking care of her, and he's really a nice guy. He looks in after my mom, so I really appreciate that. It's great to have good neighbors. That's important. Yeah, so convincing an older person to get a caretaker is a big step. I thought it was going to be pretty easy to convince my mom, but she's not very easy to convince, So I've been doing it very, very carefully, and I'm not aggressive in persuading her to get a caretaker, but I think she's finally realizing that she's reached a point where she does need that caretaker to come in just a little bit to help. And I'm finally happy that she reaches that point. I'm sure everybody goes through this experience if they have parents. Some people are not as fortunate to have that person want to stay at home and still be able to take care of themselves, and they end up going to a nursing home, and then that's a stage that it's not very good. So I'm happy that at least she's kind of like agreeing to that, and she doesn't really have any other major medical issues. She doesn't really have any medication she takes on a daily basis or anything like that. She doesn't have any serious illnesses, which is it's good. I'm glad about that. And I know some families that have had terrible situations where the parent developed dementia or had Alzheimer's, and that's really devastating. So I'm kind of fortunate that my mom is not that stage. Her mental capacity is very, very good. She is very sharp. So I'm grateful for that she has all her senses intact. So I'm not concerned about that at all. She's actually more worried about money than anything else. I said, no, don't worry about it. I said, whatever it's going to be, and we'll take care of it. Obviously, if I need to take care of it, I'll take care of it. But yeah, so again, I'm happy that that I was able to convince her that this is the direction that she needs to go. And she lives in a very nice community. It's a adult community, and it's a nice area. It's Delray Beach. If anyone out there is familiar with that area, it's like between Boca Raton and Boynton Beach. It's very convenient, and I think she understands that she's in a secure location, so it's safe. And you want, obviously, she's by herself, so you want a secure and safe location. And yeah, so it's I'm happy about that. It's another issue that I had discussed with her, because she feels now that because I have another younger brother that's in New York, and she has 2 grandchildren. One live in Sarasota, actually in Florida, on the West Coast, and she has my nephew is a policeman in New York City, so they don't get down there that often. Her niece, her granddaughter, my niece, had come to visit her from the West Side. It's a trip, so, and everybody's busy with their own lives, and you know, it gets a little hectic, you know, especially in these times that we're living in now. Everyone's under a lot of pressure. So I was, she was one of the concerns, and I'm happy that I got her to get, you know, to convince her to get a healthcare worker to come in, is that loneliness, you know, so people, even though she's been alone for so many years, you know, without a husband, and she didn't remarry, so it's just the fact that she gets lonely, and I understand that, and I'm glad that I can get somebody to come in there just to stay with her a few hours, and they can talk about, you know, their past and their family, you know, history and things like that, and anything that they have in common. So that's another important thing. I think that actually contributes to their overall health as well. It's the psychological part of it, that they can, you know, relate to somebody. And yeah, so I'm just I'm wondering, any of you guys out there, if you have any comments or anything, any stories you want to tell me about your specific, you know, family members that are going through similar things. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research, so I can tell you. I was actually pretty impressed with the Visiting Angels. They had a very good reputation. I know it's a franchise, and the coordinator that had called me was extremely professional. So, you know, you might be lucky enough to find somebody, like I might be lucky enough to get this person that I'm going to contact tomorrow as an individual to go and, you know, and be the caretaker. If not, I mean, obviously I have this option going back to Visiting Angels, which I definitely would do. So again, if you guys know anybody, or you have any thoughts or you want to share, I'm always welcome to respond to you. And thank you again for watching. And till next time, I'll see you. Bye.
Oh, nice.
How do I shut it?
Continue.
No, I don't want to continue.
Why?
I want to turn it off. Oh, here?
It's okay.